All right, welcome everybody to the AnywhereCam podcasts, episode 2 here. We got Mike and Dan from AnywhereCam. What's going on, Mike? All right, so for today's podcast episode, you and I were thinking we should probably discuss innovation because it's a big part of what we do at AnywhereCam. And, it didn't start out to be that way, really. Our main goal was just to start selling cameras, but things kind of naturally evolved where we've become a pretty innovative company. So we wanted to give people a little bit of insight into how that happened, and really, I guess I'll sort of dive in with the thought process you and I had. But we sell a lot of cameras into the agriculture space, especially like during January, February, March. A lot of ranchers and people that own cattle are buying our cameras because that's the time of year when cows are giving birth. So we get a ton of people buying cameras, putting them in a calving barn, and it helps them keep an eye on their cows because especially, during the labor and delivery process, if something goes wrong for a rancher, that means they could potentially lose the mother cow as well as the baby calf. And that's a huge financial hit. So being able to keep an eye on that whole process with our cameras is hugely helpful. And that all happens during a specific time of the year. In most places in the U.S., it's like pretty much January through March, a little bit into April. And then we had a lot of customers calling us up saying like, "Hey, I love my camera and I used it during calving season, but now the calving season's done. Can I pause my cellular service and just shut the camera down until calving season rolls around next year?" And you and I, running this company, we never wanted it to be the kind of company where we're charging our customers like BS fees. And we talked about like we could charge our customers like some sort of pause or cancellation fee and then charge them another fee for reactivation when they're ready. And that's just not the kind of company we wanted to be, right?
Yeah. Not only was it something we didn't want to be, but at the time when we made this decision originally, I think there was three of us in the company. We had, only a few hundred customers at that point, I guess, but it was just the operational capacity to pause, cancel, and what happens when somebody's subscription starts on the 21st of the month, they called you on the 18th of the next month to cancel it. Like, what do you do? It's just all it did was cause more work for us and like frustration for the customer, whether it was just they, couldn't get a hold of us to do it, at the day that they thought they didn't have time. It was Saturday at 10 p.m. And when they thought about it and then their subscription went the next day, there were just so many negatives and not really any positives that we originally saw from canceling, other than if we were wanting to just make it a revenue generator and charge an activation fee every time somebody wanted to do it. We thought about that, but we're like, that wasn't our goal. And we're not going to like grow the company off activation fees. So yeah, we had an idea.
Yeah. So that got us thinking like, all right, people are loving the cameras when they're using them, but then they're shutting it down because like they've got the camera in their calving barn. Well, what can we, instead of charging BS fees, it should be our job to figure out how do we make our cameras more useful year round. And we're like, all right, so all these people are using their cameras in their calving barn. And we know like once calving season's done and the weather warms up, they're taking their cows out to a pasture and they've got, fences and water tanks and stuff that they could mount a camera to. So how do we make it easy instead of having to take out a power drill each time and like unscrew the camera from the wall of their barn and then take it out to the pasture and figure out how to mount it on a stock tank or a fence post out there? How do we make it just super easy for people to move their cameras so that they can keep watching their animals when they're out in the pasture and they don't have to screw around with the drill each time? So you and one of our employees started kind of playing around with the idea of these quick connect mounts. And you want to tell a little bit of the story about how the mounts came in? I guess, first of all, what the mounts are and then how they kind of came into existence.
Yeah. So from that, all is correct. But also at the very beginning of AnywhereCam, we were installing the cameras for some of our customers, especially when they were, a lot of the first customers were like friends or family. So it's hard to tell them no. And so we would get out there, and at the very, very beginning, I was doing it myself. And you could ask my wife, probably the least handy person on earth. And so I'm out there, most of the time with the customer observing, and I'm trying to like screw this camera in. And the hardest part of installing wasn't the technical side or the connecting to the network. Those are challenging, but we had fixed those on the back end. The hardest part was getting your drill at the right angle, and not strip the screw out or not mess up the camera, with your drill slipping and hitting it. And so it was like, that was what was in my mind the whole time. It was like, the biggest pain in the ass of using these cameras is physically installing them, if there's an easier way to do it. So the very first way we decided was we got a metal electrical box cover from like Ace Hardware. And we would screw that to a post. Oh, that was the other thing. A lot of people were putting them on like round posts. And if you're trying to put a square thing on a round post, you're really like wrenching down onto it. Am I zoomed in again?
Yeah.
What if I got a different camera and it's still zooming in? What is going on right now? I don't like this. So anyway, we get metal, electrical box covers, and we could screw it, leg bolt it to the post, and then it was a flat surface, and then we could easily put the camera on. And we realized that not only like structurally that was easier or better, more secure without straining the camera, because we put it up there for years. It's really pulling on the mount of the camera, and all this made of metal. It's just not good. And so we did that, and we realized that was the correct solution concept, but we didn't want to like just tell our customers, oh, go to Ace Hardware and do this. Like, we wanted to be a turnkey. We want to be able to solve all the problems for our customers, and have an easy solution for them. So anyway, we started to realize that this could be a really cool feature on our camera. So we developed an insert that goes into the back of the camera. So you don't have to use it. Our customers don't have to use it, but it's an insert that goes in the back of the camera. I should write a camera, but, and allows it to attach to different, mount surfaces. So it's just really an adapter kit. And it was something that was, fairly inexpensive, easy to install, not mandatory of the cameras, and made it so you could, with a quick turn of the camera, just move your camera from point A to point B, to point C, D, as many as you want. It really makes these cameras, because these cameras are set up from a technical side to be easily moved. That's one of the best features. It's not like one of the leading things that we put, but they're battery powered and they're wireless. And so both of those make it really easy. You can, run around as fast as you can, put it in the back of your pickup, drive around, they're really set up for that from a technical side, especially using cellular network. That's almost everywhere these days. So the only thing that made that, not 100% like easy to do, like, was the mount. So we did that. So we created these mounts, and we were able to, being a startup, of course, you come up with a great idea, and then you have to figure out if it's financially responsible and monetarily even possible, regardless of how awesome it is. It doesn't matter. You can create the best thing in the entire world, but if the money doesn't make sense as a startup, you just can't move forward from a certain point in the R&D and development. So we figured out that if we were able to 3D print these in-house versus spending the time and money to hire a injection molding company, then it made it more cost effective and easier to constantly be improving it. And as we were learning a lot of how these people were going to use the camera. So we didn't want to be like, oh yeah, we got the tools and we just made 10,000 of these things. And the first person goes out and says, oh, well, you should have done this. And now we're just stuck with all this dead inventory that we have to sell before we can afford to get the new version 2.0. So we did this. We were able to I don't even know what version we're on, 20. So we made so many modifications of it, and it being able to be 3D printed, and in-house designed with our awesome uh, development team of two, an engineering crew that we have. It was super easy uh, compared to other options and solutions to be able to get these mounts out and then, field test them for a bit, make a tweak, make a change. And then we had no clue how popular. So I don't know if that's the next question, but that regardless of how popular they're going to be, we still needed it to be like a nimble product and a nimble, both from the business side and the product side.
Yeah, and they turned out to be super popular, which was awesome. To see something just go from an idea in our heads to like an actual product that people are loving. Those mounts have been selling like crazy. So we've been 3D printing them in our facility in Colorado, which is another cool aspect of it, is that they're made in Colorado. Um, and so we ended up, now we've got like a whole bank of like, what do we have, like 8 or 10 3D printers
Yeah, we're up to
running.
two now. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got all these 3D printers producing these things out of like, weather resistant materials, UV resistant materials, so they can stand up to harsh conditions. But once we went through the process with, doing the CAD design of the mock-ups of the mounts and getting these 3D printers up and running and everything, now all of a sudden it kind of unlocked the ability to prototype whatever we wanted, really. And so these mounts, even though they're like a super successful product on their own, they kind of kickstarted like our whole R&D division and let us start coming up with other ideas and prototyping them with our 3D printers. And I think a good example is like we had some some people reaching out to us, asked if like, so our cameras come with a built-in siren, but they asked us, could we put like an extra siren on there that's like a crazy loud siren, like a really loud siren. And that's something that we did. But it kind of like, it was just sort of a project and it kind of fell to the wayside. We successfully achieved it, but there wasn't like huge demand for it until like this summer. And then tell them what happened.
Yeah, so Noah and I and Zach's been influential too, and all of us have put our minds to make this possible. I think it's my personal favorite part of the whole company is being able to design and develop and uh, constantly make it better. And so, you go into our facility there, and it's just like a timeline of our minds. It's like, oh yeah, I remember 6 months ago when we designed that, and then for whatever reason, it didn't take flight and so we just put it there. And so the siren is one of those, we'd come up with this idea probably, I don't know, a year ago or something. And the thing I love about our team is that I or we or whoever can come up with an idea and go to them. I do a lot of it with Noah. I'll go to Noah and be like, hey, I had an idea. Like, let's pretend it's 10 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, hey, I've got this idea. I tell Noah. And then like at 3 o'clock, he'll like message me like, come over, I got a prototype. I'm like, well, 5 hours later. So that helps when we're where we're at and we don't have the time or money or capacity operationally to just have like a design team. Like there is no design team. There's no design budget. There's no, it's a very bottom of funnel procedure. And so, a few hours later, we have a prototype and we can be like, oh yeah, that's going to work. And we did that with the siren. I mean, I think it went over there. He's like, hey, order this on Amazon. I got there in 2 days. And then we had this like 110 decibel, like ear piercing siren that was now able to be very integrated into our camera system and be triggered by the app. And we're like, wow, this is so cool. And we put it on the shelf and then we forgot about it. Right. And then Jamie came to us and said, hey, I've got one of our clients, is hosting their city is hosting the World Cup and they need some, are we selling those siren cams yet? And we're like, oh, the siren cams. Holy cow. I forgot about those. And so we went over to Noah. I was like, do you sell that siren cam? And he like blows the dust off and you're like, yeah, let's figure it out. And of course they wanted it, in 2 days, because that's, they didn't think, just like anyone, and it doesn't really think about it until it's right up there in your face. Yeah, we can do this. I think we can do this. And quickly deployed finished the design process and tested it, field tested it, made sure it was going to work as to the best of our knowledge, and then we sent it out, and they seemed very happy because it solved their problem, and it was just like that. And so we seem to have a lot of those. I'm sure every once in a while, I'll just go walk at the MFC and be like, "Oh, I forgot about that thing. That was a great idea."
Yeah, and for us, that was so cool to have one of our customers that was hosting the World Cup. It's like our customers actually like the government of one of the host cities, and uh, they've got thousands of people from the World Cup walking through public parks and potentially climbing fences, getting into places where they don't belong, whatever. So they needed these siren cams while they're like getting a live look at what's going on through our cameras. If they see something, they need to be able to trigger that really loud siren to let whoever's misbehaving know, like, hey, you're being watched, like, knock it off. But for a company here in Fort Morgan, Colorado, to be part of hosting the World Cup, even in our small way, it was really cool. I thought that was fun.
I just love being able to people come to us with a problem, and we're like, "Oh yeah, we can do that, no problem." Yeah, like we which I don't know what they expected, right? Like, I don't know if they expected us to be able to turn it around that quickly. And so for us to be able to do that, it makes us feel good. Like, even though we're a small company, we're still able to like make big strides in certain aspects, which I think is something that we're uh, in a unique position to do. I don't think that, a large company with 10,000 employees would be able to turn it around that quick. So it is one of the benefits of being the size of company that we are.
Yeah, and you know, people come to us with requests pretty often, and we can't do every single request that comes to us about creating some custom solution. Like you said, it only makes sense to do it if it works out financially. But we do notice like themes, and when people are reaching out to us, and I think what's happened over time with just our core products that we sell on our website right now, people have seen those online and they've recognized that Anywhere Cam's real core competency is being able to put a camera anywhere as long as there's sunlight and cell signal. You don't need power, you don't need Wi-Fi. And so we had people reaching out to us from a variety of industries that they needed a camera solution that could be basically recording 24/7. So not just motion activated, it has to be recording 24/7. And it needs to be able to point the video stream wherever they need it. So like an example would be, an AI company that has some sort of video analysis tool, AI video analysis tool, and they need us to be able to capture video from the field, point it towards their AI servers so that their AI can analyze the video in real time. Or a construction company that's got, like a national home builder that's got construction sites all over the country, and they're contracting with a 24/7 security monitoring company, and they need us to be able to deploy camera systems on their sites and then pipe all that video into that third-party 24/7 security monitoring company. So we were getting these same kind of requests from all these different companies in all these different industries, but they all basically needed the same thing. And that's kind of driving the next evolution of AnywhereCam, where we're headed, which is some of these more of what we call like enterprise solutions that are geared towards these type of customers. And you're heading up the R&D on those things as kind of our in-house tech guru.
Yeah, the resident nerd, I guess. Yeah, I wear that hat proudly. Um, yeah, I just love that's one of my favorite parts is to the innovation. Um, which if I think back to when I very first came up with this idea, first I never intended it to do more than just like the basic solution of a camera in a cornfield is like in my mind. That was like the tagline way back. It's like, yeah, we put a camera in a cornfield, right? And so now to be thinking about like 5 years later, really, maybe less than that. Now we're talking about like being able to point it the camera and have it do pretty much anything that somebody can come up with through not in the camera, but somewhere in the cloud or in AI world, right? Like somewhere that there is high speed internet uh and power and these really smart processing computers. If our cameras are able to send that data, video data, to that location for whatever purpose the customer or client has uh, or needs. And for us to be able to be thinking about, not thinking, but deploying these very soon is wild, because I never expected it to be a high level, like a technical solution. It was just supposed to be a camera in a cornfield. So it's pretty neat to where it's come.
And I think that was a big realization for us at one point too. Is like, you hear AI, AI, AI. Everyone's talking about AI all the time these days, to the point that it gets exhausting and annoying. But we kind of had the epiphany of like, oh my god, really all video is a form of data, and AI craves data. That AI needs data. That's what it's doing, is analyzing data and organizing data. And we have this super valuable video data and the unique ability to get it from these hard to reach locations that don't have power or Wi-Fi. So I think that was a kind of, like you said, the history of our brains evolving with the company in terms of innovation. I think that was a key realization for us, is that we can be the AI video data go-to source for locations that don't have power and Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to how every improvement and adaptation has happened at AnywhereCam. It was because it either came to one of our minds and we talked it out and it seemed like a good idea, or a customer brought us either a question or a thought or what if or can your product do this, or could your product do this? And so we took that and slapped it into how can we get into the AI world and AI game, because it is obviously important to think that as a startup. It would be silly for us to be like, oh, we're not going to deal with AI, like we're not going to get in that game. But also from a realistic standpoint, we thought of a million ways that we could create our own AI tool. And if we had unlimited resources and finances, we could do that. We go develop all these tools and then add them to our feature list to sell to customers. But we were smart enough to realize that was going to be an endless journey that wouldn't go probably good for us in the long term. So we look back at like what you said, Dan, our core competency. What is that? What do we do really well that this sets us apart from others? And that's putting cameras in very remote locations. And there's lots of video data analytic AI tools that are able to scan this video in downtown Manhattan and give you all this analytics and metrics from it. But there's not many of those in Antarctica, the Atlantic Ocean, middle of Africa, like all these things. And so that's what I was thinking. I was like, how cool would it be to put, these cameras in very remote locations, and how much would people love that? And we thought, like, we can provide just like everything else. We view our AnywhereCam as a tool that our customers use to help them with whatever they're trying to do. And I view it the same way for AI. We can provide a tool and a pipeline to get this video data from wherever to wherever for whatever reason. And that's our focus on AI. And I'm super excited to see where it goes. It's definitely an intriguing journey that never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, and you bring up another good point too. Is every innovation that we do is based on feedback that we've gotten from customers. We're not just like innovating just to say we're innovative. It's all solving problems that customers bring to us, or fixing issues faster and easier. Like even now, we're using AI more internally to make it easier to like activate your cellular data plan for customers, and or like, if you're trying to adjust your camera settings, make it easier to find out on our website how do you get your settings dialed in the way you want. And a lot of times AI is super helpful with that without being annoying. Um, so yeah, I think we've made a lot of strides as a startup utilizing AI just to make things better for our customers overall, from anywhere from new hardware products to using our existing hardware products. I think we're doing a pretty good job there.
I would agree. I liked how we're using AI, but we're not letting it take away one of our main values, which is providing American-based, English-speaking, real human being support to people if that's what they want. Obviously, a lot of people, they don't care if it's being how they get the problem solved, whether you use AI or not. They just want it solved quickly. And so we're using AI to speed up and increase the amount of customer problems we can solve at any given time with our small core staff. But it doesn't mean that we don't have somebody on the phone that you can't talk to, whether it's sales, support, the business side of where we're at. It's always, we still have that. And I hope we never get rid of that. And I'll fight to ever get rid of that. But anything that we can use to keep, or to make our small team even mightier, I'm all for.
Yeah, and I think that'd be a great topic for probably our next podcast, is talking about the team that we've built here at AnywhereCam, because we're doing all these cool things with hardware and software, but none of it happens without having like an awesome team that we work with. And I think a lot of people are surprised that we've put together this really great team in tiny little Fort Morgan, Colorado, out on the Eastern Plains. And I think it'd be cool to talk about our team and not just like the great work that they're doing, but also the fact that like a lot of them are super young too, and which is a hot topic these days, of Gen Z employees in the workplace and how they mesh with employees of different generations. And it's been a great experience for us. So I think that'd be a good episode for another podcast.
I think we might be the dictionary definition of like unorthodox approach to creating a high tech company. Like we did not, we didn't even crack the book of Business for Dummies on that one. We're just like, we just, I mean, fortunately, Dan, has an MBA, but he's one of one at AnywhereCam, and so at least we have a little bit of that high level knowledge. I think it just ties right in with all of the values that we have, which bleed into our product as well. And hopefully our customers see that is we don't hire anybody because of only their resume. We hire them because of I was just talking to somebody earlier. I said, we hire because of their head and their heart more than their resume. Like if they're a good person and and we find the right job for them, and then they are hopefully happy and they're motivated and they're passionate, and that goes way further than any sort of credentials. For anything, in my opinion, I spent, a decade plus hiring that way at my other company, and it worked well. And so I felt good leaning on that rule of thumb here at AnywhereCam. And, it's turned out to be good, because then all of our decisions we know are not just being made because the numbers match up or it follows some rule, like, of, that we read in a book somewhere or something. It's like, if all of these, everything's done for the right reason, and that goes directly down to our products, and hopefully our customers see that. And it all stems from hiring good people. So I'd love to talk about our awesome team.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, I think for this podcast, I mean, I think hopefully that's given people a good understanding of how we went from just trying to just cover the basics and just get cameras out there that work, to now starting to layer on some innovation that are solving customer problems and developing cool new products. And yeah, people who are watching this, I would really encourage you to keep an eye on us, because we've got some amazing products that, like I said, Mike is doing the R&D on right now that we're hoping to launch within the next several months here. So keep an eye on AnywhereCam, and hopefully you stay tuned to these podcasts. But yeah, thanks, Mike. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, I figured out. Hopefully, everyone got through zooming in on my forehead for half this podcast. Ironically, the video is messed up in our podcast. It's kind of a video company here, but um, yeah, I think I've got a good frame here, and we'll be ready for next podcast where we get to gloat and brag up a little bit about our awesome team that we've created, which I'm super proud of.
I think people want that tight close up of your face, Mike. Give the people what they want. Yeah, there you go.
If I didn't have
That'll
a
be the
big enough
thumbnail for this podcast episode.
if I didn't have a big enough forehead already, my camera decided to go rogue and zoom in on it. Thank you. Peyton Manning will appreciate it though. I mean,
Sure.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Mike, and thanks everybody for watching.
So yeah.
Take care.
Bye.